Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Untitled Nic Cage Show. I am one of your hosts, Larry.
And I'm one of your hosts, Rachel.
How are you doing, Rachel?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this movie. I watched it yesterday, and it's been very hard not to talk about. I've been holding it inside, and I'm ready to unleash my feelings.
Yeah, I am very happy we did not watch this back in August.
Oh, no.
That would have been that would have been rough.
Yeah, I suspected this would have been a rough go back then, having now seen it and knowing the layers of caged emotions.
Yes.
Pun intended. Yeah, that would have been a really bad time for you to experience this film, as opposed to now, when I actually think the timing is
perfect.
Perfect.
It was honestly got perfect. I couldn't have. And we picked it here because of the Oscars, and I saw that he didn't get nominated. And a little bit of spoiler going forward is I haven't watched most of the Oscar films yet. I've kind of been burnt out by the Academy, just to be honest, recently. But
yeah,
this was a really good performance, and I would need some clarification about why he has gotten no recognition for it on a award level, because I don't know. Well, we're going to talk about it. But besides that, so yes, we're reviewing the film Pig. Came out last year. But what's new with you, Rachel? How's life been?
It's been rough. Your girl got real sick.
Yeah, I was sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I won't go into all the gory details, but I will tell you that I got so sick, I broke my glasses.
How?
Well, see, what happens is when you're running to the bathroom because you're about to throw up and you faint and you land on your face and your glasses are on, they break.
How are you now?
I'm actually a lot better.
Okay.
Yesterday, I finally felt oh, I'm on the other side. So I'm good. And I'm what have I even done this month? And I was so sick. That's all I could come to mind. So I'm relying on you to bring the
Well, you beat Alien Fireteam.
I did beat Alien Fireteam, and that was a lot of fun. We crushed that game.
Yeah, and it was so crazy because that was something we played back in August when you and Justin were trying to help distract me from what's going on with Dante.
Yeah,
and I just could not. Yeah, exactly. I just could not get into that.
Yeah.
But we started playing it again because we want to review it, because over on Here's Johnny, as people may know, we are an Alien season.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get that ready and get it out for review, so that's coming soon. And I had a lot of fun. My PS4 had a hard time with it.
Yeah, there was a rough patch. We had a rough patch.
Yeah, my frames dropped down to 0 a second. It was unplayable. I literally couldn't do anything, and that was very, very, very rough. But letting Justin host the game on his server fixed a lot of those issues. Mm-hmm. But boy, oh boy, there was a...
Yeah.
There was a time there where I was ready just to say, guys, beat it without me, I'm done. Because it was bad.
I could hear you were trying. Yeah, you get so many points for really putting on a brave front, but I knew you were hot. I could feel you 10 states away, you were hot. And then we switched servers, and you were back in. And then
Justin, you'll hear about this in review, but Justin came through enormously clutch because Rachel and I thought,
oh my god,
that you should kill the alien queen. Well, spoilers, that's not the goal of the last mission. It is just to escape. But Rachel and I were already committed to the kill, and Justin had to save us.
Well, slight different version of history. You were committed to the kill, and you got hit. And then I was committed to being a teammate, so I tried to come and revive you, and then I got just murked by the queen.
And then Justin hightailed out of there. So he left our dead bodies behind. And then Justin hightailed out of
there. And we, went into, what is it? Spectator mode?
Yep.
And just, watched. We were go. Go.
We don't want to redo the whole mission.
Except for there was a xenomorph in it. We're go into the end zone.
So since he carried us to the finish line, maybe we'll stop harassing him about playing Alien Isolation?
Absolutely not. Never. In my dying breath, it's going to be the end of Titanic, and I'm 93 years old. The last thing I'm going to say is, Justin never played Isolation.
I don't know what we can do to get him to play it. I want him to experience it.
I mean, I think we weaponize his Canadian guilt. Again, my birthday's coming up. Maybe I can talk him into it. He was supposed to play it for my birthday last year, so maybe I can really lay it on thick. You guys got me such a nice birthday gift. I couldn't guilt him this year. He was like Teflon from guilt because of my lovely xenomorph wine glass, which I'm looking at right now. But this year, maybe I can make it happen. He's missing out. He'll love it.
I know.
It's an amazing game experience.
It was a top tier game experience. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very scary. A very scary, very stressful game.
Very scary, but in the best way.
Yeah, the only part of that game that really made me angry was the alien hive.
So were you multitasking? Tell the truth.
No.
You weren't? Because I thought maybe you were like had a game going, and that's why you weren't hearing the sound of the eggs opening.
No. I was fully committed, and I'm just a fast. Like I move fast, and that game does not behoove.
That game punishes. Yeah, it's a stealth game, so you have to.
And there's a reason why I don't play Metal Gear Solid or Splinter Cell. That's not. It's not my cup of tea.
When we played the Saw game. I've never heard anyone more mad about a tripwire who has not experienced it in real life.
I hated it so much. Oh man, I forgot about that.
I had a great gaming experience this month. Horizon Forbidden West comes out Friday.
Oh, cool.
So that's the one I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'll talk about that experience on the next episode. Also, the new, now supposedly Cyberpunk is finally good.
I know Devin has been considering, after she beats Doom Eternal here, finally taking the copy I got for her in 2020 out of its collector's edition wrapping and playing it.
I think now is the time. It's supposed to be best on PlayStation, and it's apparently a new game. So I basically was like, this is not a maximum ultimate, or what's the word, optimum experience. So I set it aside and I was like, I'm just gonna wait till they fix this game. And here we are. The time has come, and it is unfortunately at the exact same time my other most anticipated game is hitting. So Cyberpunk will have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, they'll fix some more bugs.
Maybe. The question is, can you still have sex with Keanu Reeves' character? I don't know, but I intend to find out.
I guess.
So how about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say for myself, not a whole lot. Watching, we're doing a Texas Chainsaw little mini season because there's a new movie coming out.
So excited.
Yeah, and mainly school. My semester ends next week, but the new Destiny expansion comes out on Tuesday of next week. So I actually put the crunch in to try to get shit done so I can have that semester work done before the expansion drops.
Listen, whatever motivates you. You know what I mean? That's going to get you through there, and then there's a sweet prize on the other side.
Yeah, I took 3 exams today.
Hideous. No wonder you're tired.
And all I have left is a paper, which is 7 pages, which isn't that bad, and then a final data analysis project.
All right, dude. And is this the end, or you're getting
No. There's 6 classes left. 2 more this semester, and then 4 more in the summer.
But 2 more semesters. So you basically have, the rest of, you have spring and summer, and that's it?
I graduate in August, yeah.
Holy shit, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely, when I'm in it, it is constant effort and work, but I'm just happy that it's going to be done fast.
I mean, it was so fast. I remember when you started, I was like, this is going to be a very long process. I cannot believe we're almost at the end.
Yeah, that's the only good thing about the terrible dark times we're in, is that time seems just to fly by if you aren't paying attention.
I know. It's on one hand, it's good. On the other hand, it's so grim. You can't think about it. If you think about it, hello, darkness, my old friend. So I just fill my life with as much Cage and video games as I possibly can.
Serotonin is what it's all about. Okay, but that's pretty much it. I looked around because obviously we have to talk about Cage news. Do you have anything? I saw you have something written there, but
yes. So you're right. In a rare, unprecedented sort of moment, all is quiet on the Cage front. So what I did is I looked it up and I found a list of his most incredible headlines over the years, and I thought, Over the course of the show, if we have one of these bizarro world situations where Cage is not making a current headline, we could revisit one of his greatest hits.
Okay.
What do you think?
I like that idea. That's actually a really cool idea.
All right, good. Well, in that case, allow me to take you back to the utopian times of August 3rd, 2010.
Okay.
2010. Where were you in 2010?
I was at West Point.
Okay, so not so utopian. All right, so this headline thematically is perfect, especially when I get into some details of the, background of the film.
Okay.
The headline is, Nicolas Cage took drugs with his cat.
Good.
All right, it's a short article, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you.
Okay.
This comes from stuff.co.nz. Does not have a byline, unfortunately, which is rude. Stuff, step your game up. People deserve bylines for the work that they do. All right, Nicolas Cage once took magic mushrooms with his cat. The Sorcerer's Apprentice actor, which tells you exactly what was happening in 2010, confesses that he once took hallucinogenic drugs with his cat Louis when he discovered the feline had gained access to the fridge and had taken them. He said, I had a bag of magic mushrooms in my refrigerator. My cat used to sneak in the refrigerator and eat them. The cat ate them voraciously, so I thought, what the heck? I better just do it with him. I remember lying on my bed for hours, and Louis was just on the desk across from my bed, and we just stared at each other for hours, not moving, just staring at each other. And I had no doubt that he was my brother.
That's like heartwarming.
Yes. However, the 46-year-old admits he no longer takes the mind-altering substances. He told TV host David Letterman, but having said that, I don't do that anymore. And you know what? Later in life, I was completely not doing any of that. I know he said hi to me. So, there you go. And that is your vintage Nic Cage news.
I like it. So one of the things I've always wanted to do, and it goes back to my love of X-Files, is I think many people know I'm kind of the Puritan of many groups, which is very strange for me. But I've never done anything too crazy, but I always wanted to do peyote, like Mulder does in X-Files.
Okay, that's a deep ender.
Yeah, like that's one of my favorite episodes of the show. You know, when he takes it to like try to get in touch with the aliens, to talk to his sister and everything.
Gotcha. So you do not have to answer this on the show if you feel uncomfortable, but will this be your first journey through hallucinogens?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you are going to deep end it. Got it. Excellent. Breezing right past mushrooms into peyote.
I don't know. I don't know. It's something that I've always been interested in, and it's more just finding the right time to do it and having somebody who can commit to like
doing it with you.
Not even doing it with me, just being there as I do it, because like gotcha. Especially now that I'm working out again.
Are you thinking Michigan?
No I want to enjoy and remember that and not cause people headaches.
Fair, although mushrooms would be a very fun activity with all of us.
We are literally going to the woods where they filmed Evil Dead. I think we would be playing with fire.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. We will be in Evil Dead.
That's why I picked Michigan when I was looking.
I thought you just picked it because it was close to Tuck.
I mean, that was part of it, but the other big reason I was like trying to think of like another, like we picked Salem, right, because of the witch trials and all that kind of stuff. And
so, God, I'm slow. I did not. Literally, I was this many years old when I realized what you were up to.
I was trying to keep it spooky. It was just a very happy and pleasant benefit that I was close to Tuck.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Tuck alone was worthy motivation, but I do like that we kept on a horror theme. That's cool.
Yes.
That's very, very cool.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. All right.
So with that, I mean, why wait? We've been waiting to review this movie for 6-7 months. Let's finally review the film. Pick.
Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone? Got a bad desire. Tell me now, baby, is it good to you? Can it do to you the things that I do? Oh no, I can take you higher.
All right, hope you're ready. This is going to be a journey through all of Rachel's emotions. I'm just going to say this up front right now. I probably am going to cry during this episode because every time I try to talk to my partner about this movie, I start crying.
Yeah, I actually didn't talk to Devin about it because I watched it when she was at work.
Really?
So this will be my first time speaking about it out loud.
All right, let's see how we do.
So you have the background for this.
I do.
This was your first viewing, right? This is both of our first viewings.
Yes, I watched it yesterday afternoon when you were trying to call me, apparently.
Yeah, just to give you more
bad.
time. I knew you were sick, and the nice thing in the way we treat the Cage Show is that we want to do it when we are in our best minds and have the best energy to go forward with it.
That's true. That's true. That is
pushing one night is not going to change anything.
Well, I appreciate you.
Of course.
I see you. I appreciate you. I receive it. Okay, so Pig is a film from 2021. It was directed and co-written by Michael Sarnowski and co-written by Vanessa Block. And it's kind of hard to define genre-wise, but I guess you would call it a thriller? Would you call it a thriller?
Honestly, if I were to try to put this in a genre, Rachel, I would call this movie just art house.
Yeah.
Because I think
That's fair.
Because art house, I think, just really describes a lot of films, honestly, the best way possible.
Mm-hmm. And this is definitely an art house film. We have a listener who is always asking me, is this art house? The answer on this one is yes.
100%. Yes, 100% this is art house.
Kat, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, but because I was going to say, this is just so much more than that, which I know we'll get into.
When art house is at its best, it's the reason why I think calling it an art house film is appropriate, because when you get an art house film, I would also consider a film like Parasite art house. Right?
Oh, it's absolutely art house.
Because you can't put it in a genre. It's literally someone using cinema, movies, as a way to... It's not...
It will not be confined into one genre.
Exactly.
Because I think you could argue this falls into the buckets of several, like drama,
thriller, romance, crime.
Yeah, but... it's also not really truly any of those
no,
things.
I think it would be selling it short if you try to put it into any of those.
Absolutely. So, are you familiar with Sarnowski's work?
No.
That's because this is his first feature film.
Okay, good.
Yep. I was personally blown away by that fact. Prior to this, he has directed a handful of shorts, co-directed some episodes of TV, and then this, which is wild to me.
What TV shows, out of curiosity?
They were not ones that I was familiar with.
Okay.
He had sorry.
You're good.
I have IMDb open in front of me.
I put you on the spot.
It's
my fault.
It was something called Friday Night Legacy and Olympia.
I had not heard of either of those. Okay.
Neither had I. But he co-directed a total of 8 episodes between the two of them.
Okay.
All right, so the idea for this film actually came to him because he first saw a photo of a man with a truffle pig standing on a porch, and it just sparked his curiosity. And he started quickly building sort of a story up around this guy. And then he started doing some research into the world of truffles and discovered that there was this whole complex economic system that we do get some hints at that I definitely want to touch on in the film.
Okay.
And he once he started learning about this, he started building the story around both sort of the culture of both the hunting dogs and pigs, and the truffles themselves, which go for an upward of $100 per pound.
So I wanted to talk about that real quick.
Okay.
The only experience I ever have had with truffles are B-dubs. Last summer, I think, had a truffle flavored wing sauce.
Okay.
And it was dog shit. It was absolutely terrible. So have
it's
you
not
had
a subtle flavor?
Have you had pure truffle? Like, do you know?
No.
Okay.
No, I've only ever had things with truffle oil. Like, at that, what's the name of that movie theater? My brain is blanking. Alamo Draft House. They do a truffle fries that are pretty good.
Interesting.
But they do have that sort of mushroomy umami flavor.
Yeah, I'm not a big mushroom guy in general, and we got those wings, and I was like, this is like, I'm happy because Devin was smart. She's like, get the sauce on the side. Just get the sauce on the side, and that's why she's smarter than me. And
I also kind of feel like wings and truffle are never the two should meet.
It is so funny because I am always intrigued by the fun sauces that B-dubs sometimes have. Like they had the sweet chili Dorito flavor for a brief time.
Oh, okay, that I'm curious about, and that's also like a delicious sort of trashy combo that makes sense to me.
And so I went there to get it, and they were sold out. And they're like, "Well, we still have the truffle stuff," and that was like over a year. Like they literally could not give it away. Like they were offering to give away.
I wonder if it was questionable at that point.
Questionable, and also like I wonder like if it was the pandemic that made people not wanna like have it.
I just think you don't go to Wings to have, like, you don't go to like a chain wings place for truffle.
No,
you just don't. You go there for buffalo.
Yes.
You go there for Dorito. You go there for a spicy chili lime.
My favorite is the desert heat.
Are you getting crazy with some soy glaze or something?
I'm not sure the last time you went to B-dubs, but when Devin and
I don't know what B-dubs is, but I do enjoy a chicken wing.
So, you ever been to Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh, that sounds familiar. Yes, maybe.
So
I never heard it called B-dubs. I guess I'm not.
It very well might be a Midwest thing, Rachel. I don't know. But if you and Randy ever, I'm sure they have it on DoorDash out there. They have a pulled pork tater tot appetizer where it's just tater tots covered in pulled pork, covered in barbecue sauce, and covered in cheese. And Devin is a very, very big fan of like cheese fries, and she also likes tater tots. And we got it one time, and that's now our go-to appetizer when we go there.
Wow.
Granted,
how do you guys land on the subject of tachos? Are you pro or anti?
I don't think I've ever had those.
It's nachos, but with tater tots.
I might surprise her and make that sometime. Actually, I bet she would like that. We're both on diets right now, so the next time we have a cheat meal.
It's called Buffalo Wild Wings.
Uh-huh.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is one locally. And then what was the fries again?
So it's their tater tot. It's like the dirty dubs or something.
Ooh,
it's an appetizer.
Sorry, they have pretzel knots, and now nothing else matters in my life. Okay, I need to.
Their pretzel knots are delicious. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm distracting you. Continue. We started with truffles, and now we're on actually good food. Okay.
Sometimes this podcast is about Nick Cage. Sometimes it is a service announcement about delicious tots and or bread products. Just so you know, we stand a bread product on this.
One last thing on food. So on Friday night, me and Devin went out for our Valentine's because she's in mid-tax season, so she's just working constantly, and she gets up at 4 to go to the gym because she's a psycho. Yeah. So we went out Friday night, and we got chili cheese fries, and I sent a picture to Justin, and Justin was impressed because he also likes the chili cheese fries.
No, do they have a bean in them, or is it just like a meat chili or a veggie chili?
No, it was a bean and beef chili. They were shockingly good. Like I don't like it. Like Devin is big on the chili cheese fries. I'm more of an onion ring kind of guy, but they were good. My
ultimate nemesis is a spider, but next to that is a legume. I do not like beans.
Really?
It's why I'm not a vegetarian. I cannot. Never a bean shall pass these lips.
Interesting. The only kind of bean that I will refuse to touch is refried beans.
Ugh, hideous.
It Absolutely looks like dog food.
I will hummus. I'll get down with a hummus, but that's.
I guess that is a garbanzo bean.
Yeah, but a garbanzo bean? No. It must be pureed within an inch of its life. No one cares about this. But these are good dietary things for us to know in Michigan. Anyway, okay, so in addition to his research into the sort of subculture of truffles, he also was inspired by a personal loss in his life.
Okay.
That of his father when he was a kid. When he began writing the script, he was in his late 20s, and he had begun to sort of witness the ways that his father's death had caused all the people in his life to kind of shape the world around that loss. And so he kind of pulled all of these disparate ideas together to write the story. In an interview with Portland Mercury, he explained how the intersection of these things led to the sort of deep kind of the deepness of the story, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah.
He said, you come at it from two places. You have the plot element and the things that interest you about the story, and then that meets your soul, and it meets what you're thinking about on an emotional level and what you're thinking about in your life. Then those two things grow together, he said. And I think that is very clear in the end product.
Absolutely.
So, as a first-time filmmaker, he did not exactly attract the likes of Nick Cage to the project so much because it was just sort of this low-budget, genre-bending, not super marketable film. Although, to be honest, that's like a perfect fit for Nick Cage, as we know and love. Mostly, he was just really hyped to get it made, regardless of who started in it. However, WME Endeavor, which is the publicity agency, really liked the script, and so they were the first to suggest Cage. So they showed him the script, and he loved it immediately. Even though part of why he connected with it was not so good, it was because it gave him a nightmare. So he shared in an interview with IndieWire, "I was always close with my cat. I had a terrible nightmare after I read the script. I had lost my cat Merlin. Something horrible had happened, I felt. I can play this organically, authentically. I don't need to go and force it. Lo and behold, when I got on set, it just came out. It was the right place and the right time for that director-actor-protagonist relationship. It just flowed." So again,
I can see how channeling
relationships with his cats.
I can see how channeling that energy, because like I said, if we had watched this back when Dante was really in the throes of it, that would have been very rough.
This thing is devastating on your best day.
Yeah.
It's certainly not going to be great on your lowest. So, no, I know. As I was watching this, I was like, right choice. Okay. So, Cage, and when they first met, it was over a meal, of course, and they talked through Sarnaki's vision, and Cage realized exactly where he wanted to go with his performance, saying that the film, when he read it, it was like a haiku, and that all of the silent places were where it at its most meaningful, which I think is definitely true. And I pulled, again, this really great quote from him talking about how the film and the exploration of what he wanted to do specifically with his craft kind of connected at the right time. He said, "I had largely explored Western kabuki, what we had done with film performance in terms of the abstract and operatic and breaking form. And I wanted to get back to the expression in film performance. That for me was why I became an actor." And the reason I pulled this quote is I thought it tells us a lot about Cage's inner working, and I think that there's this reflexive attitude we have towards his sort of over the top performances, is that he's just like unrestrained, or he doesn't maybe have the sort of acting chops to deliver a serious role. But hearing him talk about it this way kind of crystallized for me that he is totally making a choice, and what he was doing was kind of a performance art in his performance, where he was trying to like intentionally break the sort of established forms of performance, which I thought was really interesting.
And see, I definitely agree with that, and that's definitely something. It's one of the reasons why I know it's kind of chic now to like laugh at Cage and with the energy he gives off. And we have done a film. We did Prisoners of Ghostland, and so I see where that comes from. However, like with all that being said, Nick Cage is probably one of the best actors I've seen. Like when he is on it, when he is in the zone, there aren't really many actors who get to the same level he gets to.
And see, that's the thing, is I think it's not even, I agree with you. And I think it's not even a matter of the zone. I think he's making an active choice.
Yeah.
Like he can do this if he wants to. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have to.
Yeah,
which I think is really interesting. As an artist, thinking of him as an artist. I think we
talked about this. Was it last episode? I'm not sure when we talked about this, Rachel. But when we look at some actors who do movies for paychecks, like your Bruce Willis, right? Or your Steven Seagal.
I watched one today.
Did you?
Oh God!
And
I was like, he has the career everyone says Nick Cage has.
Yeah. And so I think we talked about this last week. So yes, so exactly. And for me, I feel like Nick Cage feels like he has done what he needs to do. He has FU money. He's gotten his Oscar, and I think he now has the ability to pick and choose the movies that he wants to act in. And I think that's awesome. It's the same thing as Daniel Radcliffe. Like, Daniel Radcliffe has the Harry Potter money, so he has the FU money where he can just do what he wants. And, like, he's about to be in that... Like, he's had good performances, like heartbreaking performance, like a Swiss Army Man, but he's about to be in that movie with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum about the author of the grandma romance novels.
Yeah, I think you told me about this. Yeah,
and it's just like, is Nick Cage goofy? Sure. Like, we'll be honest. Is he a little bit goofy?
Right.
Sure. But when that man acts, when he puts it all out there, there aren't many who come close.
You can't touch him.
There really are not many who come close.
I just think he's such an enigma, and I felt like a little piece of him kind of came into view for me in a new way. And if there's any question that he can do this if he wants to, according to Sarnacki, everything that he did in this film, every scene, he did in 1 to 2 takes.
Holy
period.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, it was just, he just was in the character, and that was that. Wild. Okay, so Alex Wolff, who plays, shit, I had this in front of me, and then I changed the thing. Who plays Amir? There we go. Okay, so
is he the boy from Heredity?
Yes. So
okay.
Alex Wolff, who plays Amir, was in Hereditary. He was also in the Jumanji films and was great in those.
I haven't seen the new ones.
Oh, they're so fun. They're so dumb. They're so fun. They're like, I watched them on, I think I went and saw them in the theater on Christmas when they came out. They're perfect for that kind of viewing. But he's fantastic in them. And it's just so funny to see him in that and in Hereditary. And then he was also in Old, which I have not seen. But he is incredible in Hereditary. And as I was watching this, when we get to the uncomfortable dinner scene with the family, I was like, is this in his writer that he only will take films where he has like heart crushing familial meals? So anyways, he was the next to join the cast, and he was drawn to the role in part by his desire specifically to work with Cage, who he actually credits with having taken his acting ability to the next level, because Cage is apparently such a collaborative and generous actor.
Cool.
And
that's always good to find out.
Right? And the two actually became really close over the course of shooting the film, to the point where Alex says that they talk, like they're still really, really tight. They're more like family than friends, which I think is so nice to hear. Yes. So in an interview with IndieWire, he recalled the instant connection that they shared when they met at the 2019 TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, just weeks before the show began shooting. He said, he was really going through a tough time right before we made this movie. He said, I was going through a really tough time before we made this movie. He, I think, was too. And we had a similar moment where we needed each other, which I'm like, oh my God, my heart.
That's awesome.
And I think, again, it really lended itself to the creating of this sort of lightning in a bottle film that surprised both critics and audiences for different reasons. All right. So just some basic film information. It was shot on location in Portland, Oregon on a $5 million budget in 2019 and was held for release until July 2021, where it received rave reviews and has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. And everyone was like, oh my God, Nick Cage is a good actor. And we're like, yeah, duh. We already knew that. But unfortunately, because pandemic reasons, it only earned $3.7 million at the box office. But it also got a lot of Oscar buzz at the time.
Yeah, it did.
However, here we are. Good news is it's out now on video on demand at Hulu, which is where I watched it. And if you haven't watched it,
I paid $2 on Amazon to watch it. And I would have paid triple that.
Auto buy.
I might buy it because it's only $10 to buy it, and I might do that.
It's so good. If you can endure it emotionally multiple times, this is definitely.
And it's also very quick, which I think is nice because sometimes
I love that hour and a half run time.
Because sometimes art house films are, we'll just be honest, self-indulgent.
I watched Nightmare Alley last night. Do you know how long that movie is?
Probably close to 3 hours.
It's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, no way.
It's beautiful and it's very good, but it is too long. And this movie is the exact right runtime. It does not need to be any shorter. Should not be any longer. Perfect.
All right. So plot. A very quick synopsis. Spoilers going forward, and I don't know if it's necessarily a trigger warning, but
Yeah.
this is a heavy film. Not in
Yeah.
what you see, but in the context. That fair?
I mean, the performances are so good. This thing is like I described it as a punch to the heart.
Yeah, and I think that is incredibly fair. I think that's accurate. All right, so we are introduced to Cage and his pig. They live remotely. He seems to have very limited contact with the outside world, with the exception of Amir. That's not his name in the movie, though. What's his name in the movie, Rachel?
Amir is his name in the movie.
Is it?
Alex Wolff is the director.
Okay, sorry. I got backwards.
Yep.
Okay.
No worries.
Nick Cage gets attacked, and his pig gets taken. And he reaches out to the only person who he has contact with in the outside world, which is Amir. And they start kind of back tracing where it could have gone. Through this process, we find out that Nick Cage was once the best chef in the area. And that
Renowned.
he had actually served a meal to Amir's mother and father, and that was the happiest that they ever had been. We kind of go on this journey learning more about Nick Cage's chef Fel, and we meet Amir's dad. We find out that Amir's dad was the one who had the pig stolen, because Amir's dad is a big time purchaser of the truffles. In order to persuade Amir's dad to give him the pig back, he prepares the exact same meal that he prepared for Amir's parents all those years ago, because he says he remembers every single meal he ever cooked. And that is when this movie decides to just punch you as hard as it can. And the crackheads, who were the ones who kidnapped the pig, had killed it in their attempt to capture it. Cage falls to the floor.
Oh my god, you're gonna make me cry. Stop.
And then we cut back to him in his cabin in the woods by himself. And he plays probably my favorite Bruce Springsteen song. And that's it. Oh, and the big kicker is that the pig wasn't even a truffle pig. It was just his friend. He found the truffles himself because of the trees.
My god, and it was the cutest pig I've ever seen.
It was an adorable pig. Like
they.
I am so happy I'm on a diet now, because I don't eat any kind of pork, because it's too fatty. So I'm gonna try to never go back, because god damn this movie.
You're just gonna think of this cute little piggy.
Yes.
Yeah, they found the cutest pig on the planet to be in this movie. It's like this sort of fuzzy golden pig. It is the cutest pig I've ever. I mean, I like pigs. I think pigs are cute in general, but this one is the gold standard of pig cuteness. And I was like, fuck this movie. I know you're gonna break my heart. And then
so did you know any of the plot beats?
Only what I saw in the trailer, and the trailer was so misleading.
Yes.
In a way that I actually think is interesting, and that it kind of felt like Nick Cage stars and John Wick, except it's a pig. And there's some very, very, tangential kind of similarities. Like, it is about a man who is broken after the loss of his wife, who has instilled a lot of love into this pet that is taken or killed in the case of John Wick. But that's kind of where the similarities, and although it does kind of sort of start off in this place where you're like, ooh, we're gonna get into the underground of this, which I thought was fascinating, by the way. I was so excited that we dipped into that, because it was like, it reminded me so much of marijuana culture in Northern California and Southern Oregon. And I was like, oh, of course, this is a cash crop. Of course there would be sort of similar sort of underworld stuff with this. But in this case, it's not drugs on the other end. It's this like fine dining, high
elitism.
class,
Yeah.
Elitism. I was just like, this is so interesting. I would watch a movie that was just about this. But I didn't totally know what the film was going to be, and I in the same way that I knew that this film was going to devastate me, but I didn't even know how it was going to devastate me. Like, yes, it got me in the way that I expected, but it also got me in all of these other ways that I was not expecting to be so emotionally connected.
And that's
to this
very
film.
similar to me too, because I saw the trailer, and in my head, I had heard that Cage's performance was stellar, but at the same time, I was getting like the Taken vibes, you know?
Right.
And I was like,
right.
Like, what is this going to be? And as this movie unfolds, as you find out more and more, and as you go on this journey, there's just so much there when we basically have 3 actors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Cage, Amir, and then Jamie Lee Curtis's boyfriend from Halloween H2O.
Adam Arkin, who plays Darius.
I'm pretty sure that's Jamie. I'm almost 100% positive that's her boyfriend in H2O.
That's hilarious. Adam Arkin was in that, huh? Okay.
I'll have to check. But
we check nothing on here. We just say things.
I was truly blown away, and just the fragile nature of everything.
Yes.
And
the humanity in this movie.
And it's beautiful, and it's slow, and it's well paced, and man, that final dinner scene, like the culminating scene of this movie, and when like you're hoping that the pig is still alive, and you find out like there is no happy ending.
Right.
And like you find out the reason why Arkin's character was so nasty then.
Right. That there was an undercurrent of guilt.
Was because like he fucked up. Mm-hmm. And when Cage fell to the ground and like all the sound kind of cut out.
No, I can't. Oh my god.
And then people who listen to this review will be hearing the Springsteen song, the I'm on Fire.
Okay.
Because that's like the only real song in the movie, right?
I mean, it's the only song.
There's some score stuff that's a little bit forgettable, but that because like I remember like listening to I'm on Fire when I was a kid. When you listen to it now, though, and you listen to the lyrics,
yeah, I mean Springsteen.
It's it starts out with "Hey little girl, is your daddy home? He went and left you all alone," and you're like, "Oh my god!" But it worked. It worked. The cover of it worked really well, and it was one.
Can you pull the cover of it? I actually think that would be. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that's what I'm using. I'm not using Brace. I'm using the one from the movie. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Damn it.
I think it's so interesting that this movie, you were saying Taken and I was saying John Wick, is that it is kind of set up to lean into kind of a righteous sort of anger, and the movie itself is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
Like it's the antithesis of the sort of anger that we're sort of living in perpetually right now, that life as it is right now gives us this weird permission structure to exist in. And I really needed desperately to see an alternative to that. And this movie surprised me by being that it's ultimately about empathy and dwelling in pain instead of deflecting with anger, which is exactly what, like the John Wick thing is about. And it's great. I'm not talking bad about John Wick. I'm just saying that this was a balm that I did not need it.
There are so many times where Cage could rise to anger, and there's one time where he kind of concedes, where he kicks the car right when Amir's just not listening to him. Mm-hmm. But there are so many times where any rational person would be able to rationalize violence. Mm-hmm. And with the exception of the kicking of the car, he never does.
What's interesting to me, I agree, and I want to talk about like the heel turns he does in a handful of conversations. Where you're like, oh, here it comes. This is the moment, right? This is where he turns. but then he doesn't do it. So to me, this is the ultimate revenge film. And the reason is if at its core, the motivation for revenge underneath the anger, underneath the violence, is about trying to make someone else you feel the way that you feel.
Yes.
Feel the pain that you feel the emotion that you feel. And in this case, Robin succeeds. Like, he moves through the plot of this movie by making other people tap into the parts of themselves that feel the things that he's feeling, and moves them through, he forces them through empathy to give him what he wants. Not in a manipulative way, but like in an incredibly gentle way.
In a way that defines his character. And I think that could come across so fake or unrealistic. And it doesn't, because we go on this journey, and that is Robin, like Nic Cage's character is Robin Fell, for clarification. That is Robin's journey. And Rachel, it's done so well. And it's honestly, until you were kind of talking about that, it really, I wouldn't have thought about it, but it's also the reason why we famously reviewed The Last of Us Part 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the ending of that game, again, spoilers for anything if you listen to this part of the show, so this is ready.
Yeah.
Abby and Ellie have this big climactic fight where Ellie hunts her down and literally has her hands on her throat, right?
Yeah.
And doesn't finish the job.
Yeah.
That is similar to what happened with Cage. And my reason why it doesn't work for me in The Last of Us 2 is that's not Ellie's character. Throughout our entire time with Ellie, that's never been who she is. But it works well for me in this movie because that's Cage's character. Like that, like we are introduced and shown step by step by step that is the way that he, like, this is a revenge film, but not in the way we kind of see those movies in today's society. And it's just so much more powerful, I feel.
Not to relitigate The Last of Us 2, but I think that was her character. I think she, in her anger, forgot who she was and the person that Joel kind of raised her to be. And in that moment, she remembered the power of empathy. I wonder if you watched it now instead of 2 years, or played it now instead of 2 years ago, like you would have craved a different thing and you would feel.
I have been actually, I've been busy, but I have been considering replaying 1 and 2
Really?
Well, I like the games, but playing them on very easy and going for it more of a story.
I think that would be a really good idea, because I think maybe some of the frustration is having to put in so much work to get to that place yourself.
Yeah, because I guess like as I said, the journey that I was on with Ellie, I felt betrayed that she broke what I saw as her character.
Oh, see, I felt like she was betraying me throughout the runtime of the game because she wasn't the Ellie from the first game.
Okay.
Like, she wasn't the Ellie at the beginning of the game. Like, she had allowed her anger to turn her into someone she wasn't.
But it had also been a long time since I had touched the original. So, like, there's a part of me wants to take it on for a story dive and kind of see if I still feel the same way. But, like, I like the game. The game's a good game. I'm not a neckbeard who's pissed off that Joel died. Like, characters die in movies and games. Like, it happens.
So brutal.
It happens.
So brutal.
My big problem, what we talked about, if you want to hear it at length, you can listen to that episode, was more, I didn't think that was her character.
Yeah. I think maybe because I did revisit the first one, like, I had a very clear picture of who Ellie was. Like, the cub and the wolf. What is it? The cub and the wolf, right? Mm-hmm. And then she turned into someone she wasn't when she was so angry, when she was like betraying her like friends and stuff and turning her back on her partner and all of those things was not who she was. That is not Ellie. And so she was like being shaped by hatred. And so she re-embraced who she was and who Joel wanted her to be in the end. And that's why I was like, oh, thank fuck.
Yeah. So that, but kind of get back, I guess, to Pig.
Yes. But no one cares about this.
No, it's good. I want to revisit that at some point, and I love to do it with you too. Is like, again, in our society,
5-year anniversary.
like in our society, like, people justify violence in a lot of ways, right? Whether it's through protests for noble causes, or whether it's through betrayals, like people I think are capable of understanding like an eye for an eye, I guess. And
there's catharsis in it, right? There's a
Yeah.
catharsis in watching revenge films and watching people get angry in a safe place on on TV and a film, right?
Yeah.
Watching people behave badly is cathartic because we have nowhere to put those
especially when
feelings
it's
in
righteous.
real life. Or like if you feel like it's
Yes.
right, it absolutely. But what I loved about this was I also found catharsis in this unexpected catharsis, that the kindness and the connection disarmed both the character on the screen, but me as an audience member. Like I was like, oh no, this is actually what I really actually want.
Yeah.
I didn't know I wanted this, but I really just want people to be kind to each other.
Because there's a scene where Cage confronts a former employee who he fired, right? Because he realized you don't want to do fine dining. You don't have the passion for this.
Scene. Yeah.
And there is a moment where I feel like Cage flirted, or I guess Robin, the character Robin, flirted with beating the shit out of this dude because he knew this dude knew the answer that he was looking for.
Yep.
But instead, he literally broke this man down to his very basic character elements in a way that this guy wasn't prepared for.
Yeah.
Probably ruined his fine dining cooking career.
But maybe saved his life.
Yeah.
Because he was miserable. Everything he said about him, it hit close to home because it was true.
Yeah. It's almost like the, not a soothsayer, or what it's called, but like the person who can actually see your soul and they speak things to you that you just aren't ready for. I think there's a movie called Michael with John Travolta where he's an angel.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, if I remember
Yes,
correctly,
I
like he's
do.
able to like see into people like who they really are. We have one like that coming up with Cage, The City of Angels, which will be another tearjerker.
Oh no, I don't have any tears left. This one took them all.
But no, I agree, Rachel. Especially like in a world where like people want to get what they perceive as justice or being justified in their anger and their hate, to see Cage not necessarily get justice for his pig, but to enact revenge in a way that honestly is more devastating than an ass beating. It was powerful.
Yeah,
This is a very powerful film.
This movie does this thing where it like takes a particular formula and doesn't give you what you want, but manages to give you something better.
Yeah.
It's true also with the like you think, oh, for sure he's going to get the pig back at the end.
I know.
It's heart-crushing because he
God
doesn't.
damn it, yes.
But there's still this weird sort of hopeful thing at the end where like over the course of this, the arc that he's had with Amir is incredibly powerful. The arc that Amir's had with his father is incredibly powerful. The arc that he is, and then also the arc that Robin himself has had, where he's like reconnecting with all of these people from his past and like getting some closure and finally able to listen to that tape of his wife.
Yep.
Like, even though it ends in an incredibly sad place, it doesn't end in a dark place.
I would agree with that. The ending isn't dark because there are movies where you
Sad.
watch it where it's just like, Jesus Christ, like
Nightmare Alley.
is that dark? Is that like a dark overall one?
It has the grimmest.
Or like A Star Is Born, right?
Okay.
Like it's just dark. It's just it's not like it's just a dark fucking movie. This one, it's sad, it's emotionally tolling, but it's not dark.
And I think part of it is because it doesn't go to those revenge places, right?
I agree.
Because instead of, like we all joke, like choose violence. He chose not violence.
Well, I think he chose violence, but he did it in a way that isn't what we see with punches. Like again, going back to when he broke that chef or broke Amir's dad. Like he did like quote unquote beat them, but in a way like they're going to become better people. It's not like West Point where they say we got to break you all down to the bottom so we can build you all up together. It's not that.
I hate that. I hate that for you.
It's more. Let's look at this retrospectively. Let's look at this together, and like, you don't want to take my pig, like give me my pig back. Like I found you. I don't want your money. Like I'll give you what I get. Like just give me my pig back.
Right. Well, he comes in and is a mirror to people, right?
Yeah.
He shows you these are the things that actually matter in your life. Like there's all this artifice with all of these people, whether it's the popular but soulless restaurant, or the accoutrement of wealth that Amir and the performative sophistication that he's doing, that, and with his father, it's
when he tries to make the French
power,
toast.
right, like all those kinds of things. Like basically what Robin does is he comes in and shows them, like, the things that matter in your life are not the things that you're focusing on. And it, like, I guess you could say it breaks them, but I also feel like, and I think it's perfectly timed for an audience to receive that kind of message about, like, these are the things that actually matter.
But it breaks them in the way that their pieces are within reach of rebuilding.
I think so.
Instead of
absolutely.
like other movies where it's like they break them, but they're done. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was no. I have nothing negative to say about plot. I thought it was.
Nope.
I was blown away.
I'm gonna tell you right now. We can skip cons for me.
Okay.
I have.
All right.
none.
I'm in the same boat. Acting,
Okay.
I think, will be very brief, and it's only because every single person who's on the screen in this movie is stellar. I honestly, I think it's just a stereotype around Cage, and I think people, I even though I love historically the Academy Awards and what they used to represent, as I've kind of watched more and listened more and read more, it's so hard for me to. The Academy so many times takes one step forward and like 15 fucking steps back. Like Moonlight, a film that deserves all the praise in the world, gets it, and then we go to like other bullshit. Or Parasite does it, and then we go to what I view is Amazon Prep, which with the van life people that won last year.
Nomadland.
Thank you. And it's just like, I honestly, and you asked us a question for like the Patreon content on Here's Johnny about Toni Collette, the Toni Collette Award.
Yep.
Because her performance in Hereditary is one of the best acting performances I've ever seen. Stop.
Period.
Like that's not hyperbole. Even if you aren't,
No, it is.
Even if you aren't afraid. Oh, is it hyperbole?
No. I'm saying no. You're
okay.
It's not hyperbole.
Okay.
Yeah, like it. I meant like it is the best performance.
It's shell shocking, and it makes no sense. Like even if you are like maybe tentative about horror, if you're listening to Zombie Girls, probably not. You can't watch that and not be like, wow.
Yeah.
And that is kind of how I feel about not only Cage, because I was prepared for that because I heard about that, but Amir's character too.
I mean, Jesus. Speaking of hereditary alum. All of a sudden, I was like, I either have too few or too many syllables. I don't know. Yeah, I think we now have the Toni Collette and the Nick Cage Award. Like, these are the two unsung performances of the year. It's bullshit that they get passed on.
I just truly... And Adam Arkin, his role is kind of small. It's very important, but it's very small in comparison to Amir and Robin.
But it's another gut puncher, man.
But it's... Again, it's just every single person has given 110%, and it's not like that full sell like we kind of see with some Cage films. Like, we'll get to Willy's Wonderland on this show one day.
Oh yeah.
And that, even though Cage says no words, is full sell, right? Like that is the Mandy of it all, I guess.
Oh, you wait till you see Mandy. If you think Willy Wonka's...
And I just... I didn't want to be outraged until I had seen it and talked to you about it.
Blind outrage! It's America!
But after watching this, I truly...
It's bullshit.
I would really need someone to explain to me why this was not brought up. Honestly. Like, because, I want to...
Because Steven Spielberg put out a musical this year. There was no room for Pig. They just had to fill it all up with old Stevie Spielberg's movies.
I mean, I like Spielberg. He has made some movies that I really love.
Me too.
But, come on.
But are you going to tell me that West Side Story has better performances than this?
Probably not.
Really? I mean, I'm sure it's a fine film, but it's just one of those movies that Hollywood
It's
loves,
the same
right?
thing with A Star is Born. There are certain, like, in La La Land, there are just things that...
they just love that shit. They just eat it up.
Which is why I've kind of become disenchanted, but it is what it is. But the acting for me
Maybe we'll have our own Academy Awards at the end of this year.
We should.
We should. It's gonna be very like horror heavy.
It'll be very horror heavy and very indie heavy, but I think it will be worth it.
Yeah. I mean, but that's for the good shit.
I agree. But yes, nothing like everybody's amazing. Like every single person who they put on the screen for more than 60 seconds is giving you 110%, and it's great because they all are, and it is just it's lovely. It is a lovely performance across the board, and like I said, when we talk about plot, it accentuates the journey our characters go on, the sadness, and ultimately the growth that they all get a chance to get. You there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought you were pausing. I thought it was a pause, and I didn't want to step on you.
Good.
So I'm glad you brought up Willy's Wonderland because I actually think that there is an interesting comparison between these two like performances specifically, and that he's working in silent spaces.
Yes.
And we saw him do it on a bombastic level in Willy's Wonderland, where everything is happening internally, like there's an internal life. And what I love about this is he takes that ability and he turns in like an exquisitely understated performance with it. He can get you a man who can do both. He does both. And you just get this sort of whiplash in these moments, which we've touched on, where you can see that the traditional plot beat, the formulaic plot beat would be for him to turn to anger. And instead, you watch it process across his face, and he's like, I'm going to try a different tack. And he goes into these like very emotional places. And it's so impactful.
I think another scene that I would point out for how amazing his performance is, there is a moment where he walks by the house he used to live.
Oh my god, the thing with the kid.
Yeah, and that could have been so creepy. Because Cage is a dirty mountain man who is covered in blood by this point.
Right.
And he goes into the backyard, the house he used to live in, he sits on the back porch, and there's like a younger kid sitting there. And they have a conversation about the kumquat tree that used to be in the backyard and how it tastes when cooked. And it isn't creepy. It isn't weird.
It's not.
It is
powerful,
oddly.
Yes, it's an incredibly sweet
It serves nothing about pushing the plot forward at all, but it gives us an insight into Cage's character. Yeah, and there is no like the mom running out and pulling your kid away. There's no jokes. It's literally just him saying, "Yeah, used to live here. What happened to the tree?" Talking about how to cook it, and I don't know.
Yeah.
The acting in this is amazing.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing about Alex Wolff, and then we can move on, who is incredible in this. There were two other scenes that absolutely broke me in this movie, and they were the companion scenes where he's talking to his parents, each of his parents, quietly and childlike through a door, and neither of them are capable of hearing him in different ways. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional. Hold on. This fucking movie wrecks me, dude. This stuff with Amir and his parents is brutal, but like in the most melodramatic way. Yeah. Like it's so rooted in like
realism.
Yes. It's, and he is like, he shows up and he's like this super sort of slimy, just unlikable creep. And you see underneath all this performative shit that he's putting on, all this armor that he's putting on is like, it is just armor. And he's just so wounded, and he reverts to this, it's the childlike voice that absolutely fucking killed me. He's so incredible in this.
Yeah, he's a very good actor.
Like, it's easy to really just get caught up in the Nick Cage of it all because, it's Nick Cage. But like,
giving a jaw-dropping performance.
Like a tour de force career, like defining performance. And then, but like this kid, who's not a kid, he's a grown ass man, but comparative kid, like is able to deliver on that same
But it's like I was saying, like
incredible.
All the acting is great. Like Amir, Alex Wolff should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And I don't get why he wasn't.
I mean,
like I don't get why he wasn't. Like, like how do you watch this movie And how are they not in consideration? Because they don't give enough money to the Academy? That's why. That's your answer. If they only had a $5 million budget and it was made on a shoestring, that means that the studio didn't have enough money to petition the Academy to get him there. That's why.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It's the reason. As soon as I found that shit out, like, that was one of the biggest things that made me stop.
That they, like, campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moment I found that out, listening to that Variety or that Vanity Fair podcast about the Oscars, I was done. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
When the sausage gets made and it's all just capitalism.
Literally, I stopped listening to that podcast, and like, I have been so out of touch with the Academy Awards since then because it's heartbreaking. That's not meritocracy.
Yep.
That's capitalism.
That's why we're gonna have our own. We're gonna have our own, and it's gonna be meritocracy. It's gonna be based on movies we watched and who was the best.
I love it.
Although I'm willing to accept bribes. I'll just put that out now. It's called Patreon. Get on there, Nick.
So, pros of directing.
Yes.
I did not look into anything in the background of this because I enjoy your storytelling. I think you do a really good job with it.
Oh, thank you.
And blown away to find out this is a first-time director and an original script idea from him.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The restraint of keeping this film so tight, like under 90 minutes, I think. Mm-hmm. And the pace, yet it also gives us time with our characters in like silent moments to kind of learn more about them without being like told through exposition, is just, this movie is why I take risks on art house films.
Yeah.
Because it gives me everything. I get amazing acting, I get such a gut-wrenching plot, and then I get a film that's beautiful. And I mean, Justin and I talk about this a lot on Here's Johnny. Like, when you get a movie that is just good, it's honestly sometimes hard to discuss stuff because it's all just great. And the thing with some of the direction, and it's split into 3 parts, and the way it transitions, and what those parts actually mean something, like, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. You need to don't do what you do during a Marvel film. Like, put your phone down and treat yourself to 90 minutes of cinema at its best. And you won't regret it. It is, I will be similar to after I saw The Witch, similar to after I saw Hereditary, similar to after I saw Haunting of Hill House. This director is now on my short list of when something of theirs is upcoming. I will be hyped about it, and I will go in blind because I know that they're going to deliver.
I forgot to say what he's doing next. I know what he's doing
next.
What is it? Quiet Place 3. I think it'll be a really interesting choice.
I haven't seen 2.
I enjoyed 2. It's not as good as 1 in some regards, but
I like 1.
Okay. Well, I think he does a really good job of working in making quiet, emotional films, and at its best, the Quiet Place films are those things.
Yeah, that I will agree with that.
And I'm curious to see what he's going to do with it, because I trust him to be able to make an almost silent film.
Yeah.
And to
it might get me to watch, I guess, part 2.
Like
I guess it would get me to watch part 2 because I am curious. It's just, I don't know.
Part 2 you should watch part 2 for the opening alone. The opening is awesome.
It has Cillian Murphy in it too, right?
Yep. Yeah. And he is moving forward kind of the main central male character.
I'm cool with that.
So if you like him, you're going to get more of him in 3. Me too. Okay. Me too.
How about you? Like I said, I have a hard time with pros because it's just like when there's no cons. Yeah. Because it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, I think we've touched on most of the thing through the other sections. Yeah. I will just say that I think this movie does an excellent job of making Portland a character. I love Portland. It's my favorite city outside of Edinburgh, which is my ultimate favorite city. But Portland is cool, and it's also a little bit shady, and it's weird, and it's obsessed with food, and it's on the cusp of wilderness. It's this weird metropolitan area that's surrounded by dense forests, and it kind of plays with that sort of backwoodsy juxtaposition with sort of the city slicker eliteness of downtown, like the Pearl District in Portland. And I think this movie is kind of a realistic love letter to the city
Okay.
that I think is really
See, for me, I don't know a lot
love
about Portland, but do you know what it reminded me of? Astoria. From
Well,
Goonies.
that's an hour away from Portland.
Like that-
If I end up moving to Portland, your ass better come visit me and we'll go to Astoria.
Because like what you just described is kind of like my recollection of Goonies. So
I mean, that's what it's like. You're in Portland or you're in the
Yeah.
woods. Like that's what it's like there. And the woods in Oregon are very similar to obviously to Northern California, and they're just like a place that feels like mystery still exists. I mean, it's
cool.
mostly cash croppers who are going to shoot you if you get on their property, but the point is the feeling of magic exists. So I loved that about it. And let's see, anything else? I think that he did a good job of kind of exploring visually those sort of rural life and it being very distinct and unique from the urban settings. And yeah, I just think it's a great looking movie. It's a good looking movie.
It's a very good looking movie. All right.
Yep.
Next, our favorite Cage lines.
This is so hard. This is the opposite problem we had last time. He has like 3 lines in this movie.
I think I went first last time, so you get to go first.
Well, you got the line. So why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay. So the line I have is, "We don't get a lot of things to really care about."
It's so true. And like it's in the trailer and it's like, ooh.
Oh,
that's
was
a
it in the
really
trailer?
powerful line.
Okay.
Yes. But then you see it. It's like you haven't seen it when you see it in context, because when he says it, like there's so much emotion behind it. You're like, he's speaking like a universal truth that you didn't know you needed to hear. It's not just a great line. Like it just hits.
Yeah.
Dude, it freaking hits.
Yeah. So what did you pick? I'm sorry I picked the best one.
I went with fuck Seattle.
The only thing I know about Seattle is my boy Frasier. So like it will always have a special place, but that's literally the only reason why. And Frasier did end
I
up
just thought
moving away.
it made me laugh. It was the line in the movie that made me laugh when he's like, "Yeah, fuck Seattle."
And
I was like,
Frasier did move
"Ooh."
away, so I could be convinced.
There you go. There you go.
So now the hard part.
Okay.
We have to put it in a category. And we
Okay.
have to rank it.
Oh, okay.
So I went first for The Rock. No, who went first for The Rock? Me or you?
Yeah. Whatever.
You can go first.
I said this is for the true believer in Nick Cage's talent fan.
Okay, and why was that your...
Because I feel like this is the movie that rewards you. Like if you have been taking up for Nick Cage like you and I always do, and people are like, "Yeah, but have you seen National Treasure or whatever they want to hate on?" You're like, "No, this man is a true talent. Like this is your reward because this is proof that he is a true talent."
I couldn't agree more.
I was like, "You disagree?"
No, I think that's...
I'm like, "You're just trying to fight with me
No,
now."
that would be being contrarian if I tried to. Yes, because... So I had a hard time because I've kind of been going the Nick Cage something each time, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to do like the emotional. Like I was trying to find something to do it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to break my running thing, and this is going to be for the impassioned Nick Cage fan.
Ugh, yeah, so much feelings.
Because I'm telling you, even if you think you're cold and dead on the inside, like sometimes me and Rachel feel watching some of these horror films.
9 Saw movies in a month.
It's a brilliant film. I just truly don't know what else to say besides that, other than it is just it's a brilliant film, and it's not what you expect, especially if all you've seen is a trailer, and you're just going to have a really enjoyable time.
You'll never look at an empty cast iron skillet again.
No.
The same
No,
way.
you won't.
You're going to weep into that empty cast iron skillet.
So right now, our rankings go The Rock, Valley Girl, Family Man, Racing with the Moon, Prisoners of Ghostland, and The Best of Times.
Mm-hmm.
We have an asterisk next to The Rock because as of right now, we believe that will be a definitive film that you'll have to watch in order to
Yes.
to really grasp Cage.
Still agree with that.
I do.
The asterisk stays in my
I
opinion.
agree. We had a movie where we saw Cage show us the talent that was there, and that was Racing with the Moon. Obviously, it's a little bit lower because Cage isn't the forefront. That's Sean Penn's movie. Like,
yeah.
However, this is Cage's world to shine in. This is Cage giving us. Again, I don't even know if I've seen it unedited or from front to back. What was the one who won Leaving Las Vegas? That's what we got the Academy Award for, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen that unedited and like front to back. I'm almost positive I haven't.
Okay.
And so I assume we're going to see top tier Nick Cage acting in that, even though I think that movie is kind of like a little bit unhinged too.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that is partying himself to death.
So I think that...
I don't think it's going to be subtle, quiet conversations.
Yeah, I think that there is a chance my thoughts might change, and I'm curious to see what you think. But I believe not only does Pig deserve an asterisk, I think it might go above The Rock. Because I am more of a... similar to why I was pushing for Racing with the Moon to be higher, I like good acting performances. And even though I love The Rock, I mean, I picked it for my birthday, this movie was amazing. I was really blown away by every aspect of it. So I would be cool putting it at 1 or 2. But I do think right now, as far as the best Cage performance we have gotten, I think this is it. At least for the performances that I prefer.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, this to me is a career-defining performance up there with things that, like you said, that we're going to get into. Yeah, I've been waffling as well. Like, I knew for sure that it belonged in the top 2 spots, and I'm like waffling back and forth between the two because I'm like, okay, maximum Cage, and this is so restrained that like we're not getting a volume of Cage.
And that's the question, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But like honestly, like you're because I'm so on the fence, I'm happily swayed to put this in the top spot because it is on my Mount Rushmore of Cage.
I agree. Like I don't think it's in the top 2, and I think that The Rock and Pig will be up there for a while. There are some that I think are going to fight for those top 4 spots, like the final 4. But with that being said, it's just like, if I'm being honest, what I like the most when I sit and watch movies are like performances. I want to see a thespian give me everything, and this movie has all that. And we talked about The Rock. I love The Rock. I've seen The Rock a tons of times. It's the reason why I wanted to do science. But if I'm going to be honest with myself and talk about a movie that I think is better and a better performance from Cage, and if I were to say, do you want to see why people like Nick Cage and why people say he's a great actor? Watch this. I think I would say, if you want to see why Nick Cage is a great actor, I think I would say watch Pig. I would definitely say watch Pig over The Rock.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, at this point, rent both of these. When I'm thinking about the Mount Rushmore at the end, I kind of want to see it almost like a spectrum. Like like George Washington is like one end of Cage, and Pig is on the,
Teddy.
Lincoln. Yeah, like, exactly. Like, I kind of want to see, so like, I feel like right now we would have Nick Cage, or The Rock would be on George Washington, and Lincoln would be Pig. Yeah. And there'll be a couple more in between, right? That like show this full spectrum of him. So I think they absolutely belong in the top 2 spots. I say let's put it in number 1, because at the end of the day, I don't think The Rock is going to be number 1, but there's a chance that we might feel like Pig belongs.
I would agree with that, because I think that there are 2 90s films that will
beat The Rock. So I think that's the way to think about it.
Yeah, Con Air and Face Off are coming.
Right? Exactly. Right? So I think, and then there's also like Moonlighting and
Leaving Las Vegas.
So I do feel like, I think Pig's got to take number 1.
I think so too. I think what you...
Yeah, I had to talk it through, but I feel good about it now. That's part of the
journey, right? I think that's a really good point, because I think you're right. Again, even though I love The Rock,
there are better versions of that Cage.
Con Air and Face Off, I imagine, will knock down the Rock.
I mean, Con Air, come on. Come on! It's so good! He's got those long locks!
It's gonna be, oh man, we have such sights to see. Okay.
Yeah. Don't you love that you now get that reference?
I do. And I do want to clarify, Adam Arkin was Jamie Lee Curtis's boyfriend in Halloween H2O. I was correct.
There you go. Boom. Do not question Larry on trivia about Halloween. That is the takeaway. He is untouchable.
It is my, well, that and Scream, so. Okay. We're going to wrap this up, head on into the closing, and then get things moving. All right, Rachel. So I told everybody that when we were meeting during The Rock, I was going to do some research and try to figure out what's coming next.
Yes. Scientist does research.
It's not going to be Birdie.
Oh.
From what I've seen online, and I found a couple web pages talking about it, the Cotton Club, which came out before Birdie, has 3 main narrative arcs. One of those arcs belongs to Cage. Okay.
It's like a third rule. Like as long as he's the top third, we'll go for it.
And it's gonna be very interesting because it's Coppola.
Oh, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm. So it's going
also costumes.
Yes, this looks like it's going to be a very interesting movie. So Birdie will be after that, because as soon as you told me that Roderick was in it too, I was like, oh, let's go. But Cotton Club will be the next entry. So if you're playing along, make sure you watch that. Feel free to send us in emails if you have seen it or if you have thoughts on it. Speaking of emails, Rachel, do we have anything for this week?
One. Okay, yeah, we did actually get one from Peter, who has written us in the past.
Okay, Rachel, we'll go ahead and read. What does Peter have to say?
All right, so Peter has some random ideas for us. He said, you could start pulling elements from the current Cage movie being reviewed as bingo card worthy. Not actually build a card, but more in the vein of put that on a t-shirt statement. Simple, quick, moving on. Okay. A mini segment, again, using the current Cage movie performance, suggests a recasting of a different movie actor that the performance would work perfectly in, seriously, for yucks. Either could be entertaining. For example, which Cage would you cast to take on Keanu's role in Coppola's Dracula? Okay, that's actually kind of fun. For a bigger conversation, maybe try and recast Cage with someone else. Maybe pull a different Cage performance from a different movie instead. Would Mandy's Cage work in Prisoners of Ghostland? The answer to that, Peter, is yes. You could actually brush up on that last notion already when comparing types of his performances. That's interesting. That might be kind of a fun a little mini segment, or at least something we could include in a bonus
Absolutely.
episode. We were talking about bonus
episodes. Exactly.
We might be stealing some ideas,
yes,
Peter.
Thank you.
TM.
Brainstorming is lovely.
And then lastly, he says, listeners would probably want to see the growing spreadsheet of Cage rankings. Don't know if there's an easy way to display that, especially as you keep adding to it. Maybe this is better as a Patreon thing. Thank you, Peter.
So we can easily do that because it's a Google sheet and I can make it so that's only viewable. We do that for Here's Johnny, right? We have our master lists. If you have a website, we can just embed the hyperlink. Or if you want to just keep it in Discord, we can even put it somewhere and pin it so that people can access it.
I mean,
it's up to you.
Maybe we should do both. I think we should do both. I think we should definitely put it on Patreon and then, or not Patreon, sorry, Discord. Yeah. And then we can totally put it on the Zombie Grrlz website if people want to keep
I think we definitely can. I guess, it's super simple. It's already ready to go. All we have to do is just embed the link.
I'll add it to the little like menu bar at the top of the website. Let me,
because in there too they'll be able to see also the filmography we're basing off of too, so they can see like what's still to come and what's coming next.
I apologize for my typing. If you can hear it at home, that is me adding this idea to the list.
I can't hear it, so I doubt they can.
I got a flossy new laptop. It's got a quiet keyboard. That was my humble brag.
Oh, we're going to have a conversation about Apple here in a little bit, I think.
Uh-oh. We are? Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm prepared for this.
All right. So, if you'd like to submit your own Nick Cage artwork, guys, please feel free to send it in to us. We want to see your skills. It can be scrapped on a piece of paper. It can be done in Microsoft Paint. It can be done in Adobe. Whatever you want to do, we want to see how you draw the thespian that is Mr. Cage. And if you want to send us an email on your thoughts on the films, or your thoughts on our reviews, or your thoughts on whatever we think that you think we're wrong about, trust me, I'm wrong a lot. You want to send that to Nic Cage at zombiegrrlz, that's GRRLZ.com. Rachel, any last thoughts?
Just that I'm continuing to have a blast. This is super, super fun. And I thought my Cage fandom had peaked, but there is still room to grow.
There's still room to grow. There's a lot of, I think, areas, I know for myself in particular, where I'm kind of blind. Like the 80s Cage, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about. Some of the mid-2000s I also fell off on. So there's a lot of stuff to kind of get through. So I'm very excited about what's all to come.
Yeah. Some of it's going to be getting through.
And right now we are kind of following in cinematic release order, but as soon as we get a release date for what's the new one that's coming out, Rachel?
Renfield, the old way?
No. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, yes. How could I forget that one? Oh, my God. I can't wait.
We're not going to do all of his new releases right away, but ones that are like that, we'll definitely...
Yeah, we gotta.
Yeah, we'll definitely get bumped in there. So,
also, my Pedro Pascal love has no bounds.
He's a... Yes. Omega. All right. Any last thoughts?
Nope, that's it.
Guys.
Let's wrap it up.
Thanks for listening, and for patrons, stick around and hang out until the extended episode. See ya.
Bye, everybody. Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the extended episode.
I always forget to do that. I always just figure if they stuck around, they know it's coming. But it's probably best to do it that way. Yes.
It's mostly just for the teasers.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that I do include a little bit of it for the barnacles.
Yeah.
So the fourth thing this week is I owed Rachel 2 episodes of the television show Servant, and Rachel owed me 2 episodes of Last Chance U. I am very certain that I talked about Yellow Jackets first last time, so I'm going to give the floor to you. As someone who has seen Cheer, who's kind of into the melodrama that can be there with sports.
Yes.
What did you think?
I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I am saddened. But I also thought it has the thing that I'm looking for in any sort of sports product, which is the human not drama. I guess it is technically human drama, but like the human element. I'm not as into the sports part of it.